Yeah, I'm a
Hello
big
and
fan of that.
welcome to another edition of Indiepocalypse. I am Indiepocalypse Radio, of course that is. I'm your host, Andrew, the proprietor and editor and all that other stuff which is surrounding Indiepocalypse, the monthly anthology of alternative games. Indiepocalypse Radio is, of course, your interview talk show. I lost my rhythm. I had an intro for like 3-4 weeks maybe. That's like it's somewhere between an interview show and a post con hangout. I'm Andrew, your host of Indiepocalypse Radio. I think that's how it is. I feel like you end with the show, like you introduce yourself. Anyhow, that all said, we've got other people to introduce, and that's the people who are on the show. We've got a special kind of the second of my pre-show hangout sort of events. I need to actually update the cover, the rotating covers. I just realized that. This is 2 weeks from now, but I'll be busy next Saturday. My Play NYC pre-show. We have three guests. One guest who has not been on the show before and will have their own little private segment here up front, who you may know from issue 61, quite a while ago, of Indiepocalypse, with Night Owls. It's Devin Moses. Devin, how are you doing today?
Doing really well. Super excited to be on the show, and thank you so much, Andrew, for having me on.
Oh, glad to have you on the show. Is to have people on, and I love to have people on the show. As someone who hates posting, this is my way to talk to people, which is the non-posting way of talking to people. Which as time continues to go on, it is an increasingly more deranged way to interact with human beings, and I cannot believe people do that.
I 100% agree. I hear you, and I do my best not to post when I don't have to.
Yeah.
And I appreciate this forum where we can chat and
Yes.
talk about really anything. So
Yeah. I've realized like it's the social equivalent of like imagine you were like in a room and you kind of just like said something because you think your friend might be hidden there and they might respond to you. Um, that's like how social media works.
yeah, yeah.
And so really it's like just for like microblogging and which is also bad. Anyhow, I have a question for you up at the top, up in uh, the one of the stock standard Indiepocalypse question, which is I gotta know, hey, how did you find Indiepocalypse?
Yeah, great question. I am a avid user of Itch,
Okay.
and I have posted my games on Itch for a while, and I think finding the issues on Itch was the primary way, and some of my friends who are very much in the indie scene in New York recommended that I check it out, and so ever since last year. I've been keeping up with the issues, looking at all the really cool games that are being highlighted, and I'm glad that I saw that there was a jam submission for one of the upcoming issues for 61, and I'm glad that I sent my Night Owls in and I was selected. So yeah, I'm always appreciative of the work that you do for the indie community.
Well, thank you. I didn't know. I did not realize you were New York based. Do not ask me why. I thought you were in Atlanta.
Oh, I am in Atlanta, so
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, I.
So I'm back in Atlanta. So,
Okay.
but go back and forth pretty frequently.
Okay. Yes. Atlanta also has a pretty good scene as well, though. So you're lucky that those are two cities you bounce between.
Yeah, I found a great community here. Atlanta indie devs, Avant
Yeah.
Beetle, among many. So,
Yes, I know.
uh,
People in the pre-show were not aware that the person I was going to contact was Avant Beetle. I have
oh,
90% of a
perfect.
message sent to them.
Yeah, Eric's a great collaborator and hosts really awesome experimental shows. So, a little plug, if that's all right,
Yeah.
avantbeetle.com.
Yes.
You can find some of their past shows, some things that they're working on now. And if you're in Atlanta at the end of August, If and not in Play NYC,
Yeah.
they're doing a upcoming show, Controlled Alt Resist,
Yes.
games about resistance. So highly recommend.
Yeah. No, Eric has been on this very show. Um, yeah, I'm I couldn't unfortunately couldn't go to MomoCon this year because I was doing PAX East and then Amaze. I could, in theory, have done MomoCon the same month, but it would have been like 3 events, 3 weekends in a row, and
Oof.
that would be from Boston to Berlin to Atlanta, and it was just like exhausting. It would have been,
Sounds like a bit, yeah. Bit
but
heavy of a schedule.
it is a good show for games. Surprisingly, at least I found. Um, you get like good placement, which I think is the tricky thing about games at non gaming conventions is like what your placement is,
Right.
and like at least down in MomoCon, it's always in between the you have to go past the games to get to Artist Alley, so it's like prime real estate.
Yeah, that's perfect. I'm thinking about that for Play NYC because I was there last year and I was
Yeah.
really conscious of where all the games were placed, especially since Play NYC is like in conjunction with Anime NYC, so you get a big combination of a lot of different crowds. So
Yes.
I'm excited for this upcoming event and see what the layout looks like.
Yeah. At least the last one, it was in the gaming hall,
Hmm.
so it's like not the dream spot of you have to pass through the exhibitors to get there, or you have to pass through
Yeah.
the games to get to the exhibitors, but it's also open like super late at night, and I had people showing up at like 10 o'clock, uh, being like, oh yeah, I'd love to buy something, like
Yeah.
so there are people interested well into the night.
It's
um,
definitely an exercise. So
oh yes.
a mental exercise to be just on top of it for so long. So definitely taking breaks and trying to pace yourself for sure is
Oh
important.
yes, of course. I love to, as an individual, take breaks from. I just have to work. I just have to work 12-hour shifts,
Yeah.
which is its own like little pleasure of doing. Of Yeah, but I mean the plus side, the benefit of the corner is that, and there being theoretical booth companions I have, is that I can leave and say, hey, watch this. I'm gonna go get us some food, and then I can get food.
Yeah.
A lot of times it's like I wait till my convention technique is usually wait till someone I know comes up and I say, watch my booth, I have to go to the bathroom.
Yeah, and trap them for the however long you need.
Yeah. For like,
Yeah.
a few minutes ago. Hey,
Good
thanks.
skill.
They're like, hey, oh man, great to see you. I'm like, great to see you too. I'll be right back.
Yeah.
Don't
Stay
uh
right there. Yeah.
we've all that aside, if people are unfamiliar with your games out, or how would you describe it?
Yeah. So my studio, Vine Moss Games,
Yes.
makes experimental, imaginative narrative games. And that's fancy words of saying they are short, about 30 minutes, narrative games that deal with humanity
Yeah.
and how we can really showcase very grounded human stories in the interactive medium. So I really try to make sure the games that I make are story first, and then use gameplay and mechanics to supplement that narrative. And
Yeah.
I hope people are left with resonating with the characters that I introduce and are wanting to experience more of that style of games.
Yeah, it's funny you having to like find the language for it, because it's just like the increasing problem we have with games is that we just don't the language for what should be like, oh yeah, it's just short form, it's just, they're just short games, it's just short
Hmm.
form games. We just don't quite have that same kind of built-in language for all that.
Yeah.
There is
It's it's tough. It's hard to find a good balance, especially depending on the communities that you're trying to reach. Where,
Right.
hey, you play games, and the games that I make aren't like massive, but I think you would find a lot of interest in them. And it's, I think that the language around our work is always evolving, and having to find a language to attach to it is difficult sometimes. But I think you find the right community and the right group of people, and similar games in your sphere where you can find those like vocab words, I guess, or genre specific stuff.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of just a time thing. Uh,
Yeah.
just as you, because like you're we're in a situation where you know, game discussion, game genre, game descriptors are largely still really focused around gameplay and like in a very mainstream sense of games.
Hmm.
Like what the question of what do you do in this game being the most important part.
Yeah, and then having to explain that the thing that you do is not what you would expect of a game is,
Right.
I think, one of the challenges that I find when I try to explain and share the work that I do, where you kind of sit and you absorb and you listen and you find those subtle interactions as the main gameplay, but it ends up being you're being revealed a story about people. And so the common like I guess response to that is, isn't that like an interactive movie, or is that just like a show that I can watch?
Right.
And I try to encourage to expand an audience's definition of what that is, and try to combine both, like, no, this is a game, it's just a game that you might not be used to, but there's a whole vast uh like container of these styles of games that I would
Right.
strongly encourage. If you like this one, please explore more.
Yeah, just the interactivity itself is like what is the eternal question of even like defining games is like I don't too much to get bogged down in because it's such
Right.
a I've been saying for a while on the show and in general I think it's just weird games I feel like need almost like a fracturing of language more because it's really weird that games encompasses as a word encompasses all pretty much all like digital interactive art
Hmm.
when you wouldn't like if you wouldn't like load up like Instagram and look at a reel and be like that's a movie uh,
Right. Yeah.
and then you wouldn't watch a sequence of reels and be like that's a TV show.
That's also true. Although I will say there has been a lot of just solo clips
Yeah.
of movies that you can like watch a string of, which ends up being like, oh, I'm watching a segment of a movie. But your point holds super true, where I think the catch-all oftentimes that I found is, oh, this is an experimental game,
Right.
and that opens up a new like wave of short form games, smaller games that are very much off the beaten path from the traditional, like, I guess, industry standard, right?
Right.
But yeah, there definitely needs to be, I think, more branches that we can comfortably accept and share amongst ourselves and an audience wanting to play these games.
Yeah. Yeah. Because like even within movie like we like if to a decent probably a decent amount of people movies and film can mean a different thing. Even
Yeah.
though arguably they describe the same medium. We like there's granularity to how we describe. I run to a lot, and I assume you run to this sometimes too, depending on what kind of event you're at. When you just say, "Oh, these are games," and the preconceived notion of what people bring as what they consider to be a game. Uh,
Mhm.
a lot of people. I find the thing I found with people who don't play them, um, is the common thread is not like I feel like the thing I've heard the most is sort of the people's impressions of people's impression of games from people who don't play games is that
Mhm.
video games are all games where you shoot people or whatever. Uh,
Right.
And I found at events, people like the kind of like turn off point is more that they just like take a lot of time, you know?
Yeah.
Uh,
It's hard to find and bring in that audience also. And I
right.
think one of the things that I try to do with my games is also be very approachable as a uh like as a game, quote unquote, that is very non-traditional and is about people and connecting. And I think even if you don't play games, you can find a lot of resonance in how you interact with this thing, and it ends up becoming more of a really cool tool slash like way to experience story
Yeah.
rather than the like, oh, this is the game where I like jump or shoot or run. Although
Yes.
that there's a lot of value in those types of games. I think it helps just bring in
Yeah.
different audiences that might not be as familiar, right?
Right, right. I mean, that's the thing with games with like all art is like sometimes you like games where you run and jump and shoot in the same ways that you like. You know, you don't have to sit down and watch. I'm going to watch nothing but quiet, meditative 3 hour films. You know,
Right. Right,
sometimes
right.
you, sometimes you just like you and the crew be like, we know we really got to watch fucking. I, uh, I've finally entered the point in my life where I've found a way to see Megalopolis. And
Really?
and it's a treat. It's like it sucks, but I'm fascinated by things that where people have like a lot of money and make things that they want to make.
Yeah.
Uh,
This
even
is
if like
its own form
right,
of like own stratosphere of interesting ideas, content,
yes,
and weird ways to execute it. So
it reminded me a lot of watching Attack of the Clones recently as well, where it's like
really? Oh
where like
man.
they both looked very cool all the time, but boy, was like were they bad.
Yeah. Oh,
Uh,
that's
and
don't get me on Star Wars. I could do that all day, but
yeah, well, I have feelings about mostly that I don't know. It's kind of boring. It just kind of like it's a weird. It's like the perfect example of like how commercialization kind of just like takes the heart out of something slowly, um,
yeah.
and it's a very odd sort of like monolith of a thing of who knows. Anyway,
Yeah.
I like that there's a '50s diner in that movie. It's funny.
Yeah.
but
Oh man.
video games. We're not here to just talk about films and Star Wars and all that kind of thing. But because you also do like monthly, right? Just like you're putting them out, these putting these games out like you or mostly monthly time frame,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, so for 2025, I've done a game a month,
Yeah,
and it's been really fulfilling to uh, like undertake this very ambitious like production schedule and learning a lot about my like design and scope. But essentially, all these games are standalone projects that are very distinct in their art style, their story, and I often try to like incorporate a very unique mechanic slash like use a very distinct form of gameplay
yeah,
to I guess like promote or sell that this is a standalone thing. And yeah, that's been great so far. And we're now in August, which is for me very like wild to think through because that means that there has been 7 games made this
yes,
year. And yeah, the math on that, it's hard for me to capture fully in my head, but super excited for the one that I'm dropping in August, where these most of my games are paid work, but the ones after like a set of games, I usually have a free web-based one that is a lot more experimental, no
right,
text, but still very much a story about people. And so excited to make that one and release that one, and we'll definitely share it where I can because those are oftentimes I find just really fun experiments
yeah,
and ones that I don't get super bogged down on because it's treated as, let me just try this and see what people think. So yeah, so far it's been great. And I can't wait to finish off the year with now 4 or 5, not counting this month, four more works. very different in the previous games. But yeah, the goal is 12 months, 12 games, and so far so good.
Yeah, that it's a. I really like a you're seeing more and more people take a short approach to making games simply because you know spending 8 years is a very long time to spend on a game. Even like 4 or 5 years is a very long time to spend on one project.
Yeah, and
And
and I go ahead. Sorry.
no, all I was saying is that it also is not like feasible for most artists.
Yeah, to undertake that for so long, while it can be seen as really valuable, and if there's the passion for investing that much time, by all means, go for it. But I think for me at least, I find a lot of value in releasing things a lot faster, slash, with the much reduced scope, and I want to treat it as the equivalent of a magazine of sorts, which
Yes, yeah,
you're very familiar with, and just try to find new ways to share games regularly that people can also find value in without it being, oh, this game has taken years to make and I finally release it out into the world. I think my method eases up on the pressure quite a bit for me and for an audience that's waiting for these games, slash,
yeah.
they have no idea but see one and like randomly pop up on their feed. And so
And I
yeah, I've
think
been,
it's a lot more like sustainable. I've having been
yeah.
like around games for quite a while. Like I feel like I've seen a number of people. I've seen their game for a while. Working on it at demoing at events. And then it releases, and I don't see the people again because it clearly like did not sell well enough. They can't make another game, and they just kind of vanish.
Yeah, and that's the unfortunate like cycle you find in the
Yeah.
indie scene, and finding better ways to support indie devs, slash, like, find a better format for developers to regularly be at different conventions or showcases and always have something to show off. It's
Yeah.
something that I definitely advocate for, and I know a lot of my peers are working toward making sure there's a lot more scenes to do that at.
You're right, right. I think it's a scale built like people. We need like smaller scale. Going to play NYC. I bet if we go to Anime NYC is going to have a large artist alley section, and I bet
Mhm.
most of those artists are not doing art full time. They are. It's all
Yeah.
like part time supplement on commissions and artist alleys and things like that. And I think the more game developers realize, oh, that's just going to be how I am making games, I think the healthier the medium becomes. Instead of I'm going to make a studio, I'm going to do this full time. This is going to be my life. That
Yeah.
that just kind of burns people out. I feel rather than I can do this. I'm going to have another job that obviously pays all my bills, uh,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah, and yeah, just finding the balance of it, I guess, is the big question.
right.
But I often say, like, if you're making small games, it also is a great entryway for a lot of young developers, and I'm very much a big advocate for finding ways for students and recent graduates and young early devs, wherever they may be, to start making games when they can, wherever they can, without the looming, I guess, like, imaginative threat of, oh, I have to work on this game for super super long and I have to make it perfect,
Right.
otherwise it's not going to be a success. And I
Right, because it
think
has to
breaking
be
that illusion.
has to be
Yeah.
7 hours long at minimum or whatever, and no one's gonna buy it.
Right. Yeah.
Or it
And
has to
yeah,
be
finding ways to disrupt that is important.
right, right to be like, oh no, you can spend like five. You can spend like a month. Right, you can spend a month on a game. You can spend a couple of weeks on a game, uh, and there are going to be like less people that buy it. Of course, compared to the grand scope of. I think it's because you can look at Steam or whatever and look at hugely selling games that you think you could be one of them. And it's like it's fine to not be one of them.
Yeah.
And a lot
and
of
and oftentimes, sorry, go ahead.
no, no, go ahead.
I was gonna say, oftentimes it's probably more beneficial because then you have more space to like you have the experience of releasing that game, getting the feedback on that, and then either going on to the next one or finding a good like set of collaborators through the game that you make, and
Yeah.
showing off your skills, showing off what your purpose slash like why do you want to make games or what is the art that you're trying to create, and finding ways to connect with people without having to like invest a year or two in that process before you reach out to people. I
Right.
think is super beneficial for developers.
And I'm hoping in theory that also counts in the I've talked to people and the weirdness of like what people consider to count as shipped titles. I'm like,
Yeah.
I remember someone saying that like a student in account layer student games is being shipped titles. I'm like, what are you talking about? Those are finished games. But like, there's like this obsession with like marketplace validation of the medium,
Yeah.
or it does
Yeah, that's
it doesn't count unless it's released on Steam or whatever.
yeah, and I'm fortunate to never have been in that like section of, oh, I have to put this on Steam in order to be like defined as a game developer
Right.
or whatever it may be. And I think in part that's just kind of the like the New York scene and
Yes.
like NYU's like very much prominence in advocating for more alternative approaches to game development and
Yes.
sustainable game development also. So I'm lucky in that regard, but I know that is definitely like a notion we need to better encourage developers that don't know that slash are thinking that that's the only route to sway them if that is not truly what they actually want to do, but rather make games and feel and know that they are a game developer and
Yeah.
are supported by fellow game developers that do like different things. So
Exactly. Now, Devin, I have a couple of questions for you as we head into the break. These are
yeah,
the lightly alluded to other Indiepocalypse stock questions. I have to know first, what's your favorite type of rock?
my favorite type of rock. Oh, um, great question. I'm immediately I'm thinking without any context, igneous of any form. And if that's, I hope that's the right answer. Slash, I hope that is a acceptable answer.
All
This
answers are accept. I have no unacceptable answers here. Um,
perfect, igneous.
and the second question doesn't actually even require an answer. There's some. That's how acceptable the levels of answers are. Which is, do you have a favorite Toho character?
Um, Thank you for that context because I don't think I do.
No, that's
I
perfect.
don't know if I'm super familiar with Toho. Please explain.
So Toho, of course, the long-running bullet hell franchise of Dojin Games goes back to the 1997, of course, where it technically was a brick-breaking game on the PC 98, all by Jun, and it has a healthy. I'm trying to think of the word. I don't know if I would call it like a largely open license to use characters and make your own games, which is a cool kind of like vibe to have. Uh,
Yeah, that's super cool. Thank you for educating me on that. I'm excited to check that out
and the
more.
music is super cool,
Well,
super good. Just like slam some Toho music nonstop. But that said, Devin, thank you for joining me here today. We're gonna go
yeah.
on a break. Oh, I have a little. Uh, yeah, I was like, what is someone commenting on? And it is this. Anyway, we're going to be going on break. See you all on the other half of roughly 1 minute and 46 seconds. Goodbye for now. Hello and welcome back to Indiepocalypse Radio. That was, of course, Sydney Gish's Buckets of Fun. We're here with, hey, look, we're here with the whole crew. Now, the promise of the premise of the Play NYC pre-show. Devin, you already know, but we've also got from Nth Devil and from Oh, SA Games. I was gonna say from himself, but I forgot you also have a brand. It's Bug and Nicholas. Hello, welcome back to the show.
Hi. Hi. Hey,
Uh,
how is everyone?
Doing good. Uh, so this is my. Then this is the second of these pre-show hangouts, and the first one I'm actually going to the event. Um, the last one, which you were both, Nicholas. At one point, were you going to too many games, or did I just always misread the schedule?
No, you were right,
Okay.
Andrew. I was going to go to too many games, and then some circumstance kind of prevented me
Yes.
from not being able to go. Yeah.
Okay, because when I was doing the show and I was like just like scrolling through the website or whatever, I was like, wait, digital? I thought he was. Wait a minute.
I know, I had to switch over last minute.
Yeah.
Thankfully, it wasn't that big of a deal for the organizers, but yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's not a worry, and of course, Buck, you did manage to get to too many games, I believe.
Yeah, it was a good time. It was our first in-person event as Nth Circle, so it was pretty crazy, but it was fun.
Tell me about Mario. Did you go meet Mario?
I did not meet Mario. I saw I saw Mario as I was passing
Yes,
to get like a hot dog or some shit.
That's always
Wait,
like
Mario was there?
yeah.
They always have Mario there,
Yeah.
like every year.
That
Oh,
that's the
Yeah.
weird kind of like it really put in perspective like it's a really odd thing that one of the voices of like a super popular iconic character does like state fair kind of shit, you know.
Right. Because
I did see this. Yes, sorry. I am now closing the loop on something.
Yeah.
Yes, they have Mario
understanding.
It does.
Yes.
Oh yes, I lent my voice to one of the most iconic figures in the world. I get $60, get a $60 signed autograph from me next to like a corn dog
From like one of the most heard guys on earth,
Yes.
like right next to a place where you can buy like an old GameCube
Right.
and some
Oh.
Magic the Gathering cards.
And like me.
Yes.
This is perfect.
It's almost as if the guy got a raw deal, it feels like.
I won't speculate,
Yeah.
but maybe.
Seems like
Listen, if you will pay me $60 to sign some paper.
oh yeah. No, I understand the convention circuit, and if like you can just like be like, oh, I was the third Jason Voorhees, and that gets you $17,000 a year or whatever, you're like, hey, I'll go around to Horror Fest, Michigan or whatever, and be like, hold up my little machete, and be like, yes, it's me. I am one of the Jason Voorhees, indeed.
See, I do that, but nobody pays me.
Right.
It's really frustrating.
I think I've had to sign. I think someone's had me sign something before, which was a weird experience.
Sign an Indiepocalypse? Or,
Maybe
like,
I think I have signed
tape?
one someone's bought before, and it's very weird.
Oh, that's so cool. Next time I see you, Andrew, I'm gonna ask you to sign one. I
Okay,
think
Yeah,
that's
that
so
is-
cute.
and
It's crazy. People had us we had a friend selling of the double prints at Too Many Games, and people were like, "Oh, can you sign it?" It's like I'm just some guy.
right. Oh, wasn't the person who
cool,
made the
though.
prints, or like did the art?
No, that's my friend that I'm actually tabling with at Play
Okay.
NYC, which is exciting. Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, cool.
It's exciting that I actually have like a day beforehand that like the event isn't open that I could in theory go upstairs.
See the sites.
Yeah, and be like, "Oh, look at all the different animes. Who are the new Gokus this year? Got to figure them out."
Show me your Gokus.
Yes. Who is you got to learn who they are every year because there's always a new one.
Right. They're not they don't last long these days.
No, I mean Goku lasts a long time.
Yeah.
I was having the thought when I was talking to people hanging out at PAX East, and no, I think I mentioned it to them, but I thought this is of course an idea I thought of independently was that I think we were about like 4 or 5 years from being as far away from the creation of Goku as Goku was from the creation of Betty Boop. So and in my mind,
Whoa.
there
That
is
is such a weird. That is like some real time travel, I feel
right.
like.
Yeah, eventually,
Yeah.
like as someone who grew up in like elderly people with like just like weird like who is Betty Boop? Like what is like why is she on shirts and stuff? And
Yeah.
that's going to be like your grandpa in his like his Goku
Man.
button down shirt. And be like, oh, I remember their little Goku figurine.
Yeah.
It is the weird thing of like old nerds.
Yeah.
Oh, I feel like you could draw a line directly from like Hummel culture to like Gundam figurine building, right? So
Right.
that like our grandchildren's generation will look at our Gundam like or whatever like whatever 100,000
Yeah.
piece kit that we make over the course of 8 weeks or something like that. Be like, what is that trash on their
Right.
mantle?
And I'm like, that's Char's Red Zaku, obviously.
This used to mean something.
Do you not have culture where you grew up? No, I think Char is eternal. I think Char is eternal. I think Char will always be rediscovered. People always love messy himbos or whatever. So Char will survive, but who knows about other things? Your various
Messy Himbos is a good preview too for Play NYC, I feel like.
Nice.
yeah. To speak of your games very briefly, because you've all been on the show here talking about them before. If you want to really sit down and talk in depth about these, come to listen to the past shows they're on. We might have talked about their games. I don't remember.
A little bit, for sure.
Yeah. But Nicholas, what is? Hey, Baby Labor just came out. Well, give me a quick. What's Baby Labor? Real quick, like.
I'm Bundle of Joy.
Bundle of
That's
Joy.
the game.
Right, it is Bundle of Joy. Baby Labor is the other game where the baby is your boss and you're interviewing for him.
Yes. Which I've seen. It's funny because there's another developer, a Canadian developer, that's making a game that's a hand-drawn game about being a single parent.
Yeah.
And we've been in touch for like a super, super long time, and they literally just messaged me on Blue Sky about putting together like a bundle.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, I had this idea of like, oh, who else should be in that bundle? And I was thinking about that game as well.
The baby bundle.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, baby, dad, kiddo bundle. Yeah, I don't know. We'll have to figure it out.
You gotta get in touch with the shower with your dad folks.
Yeah. There's a lot of there's a longer. I would also like to get Who's Your Daddy? I don't know if you remember that game, but it was a game where it was a kind of co-op multiplayer game. I guess now we're calling those friend slot games, but it was like a game where you played as a baby and you were basically just trying to do the most dangerous things, like sticking pennies in sockets and drinking bleach and stuff. So like one of you was playing the baby trying to do that, and the other one was playing the dad to try to like stop them. But the dad was always like at a disadvantage. It was pretty fun. It was a pretty fun game.
Yeah, I'm looking it up, and this is also I say this with nothing but love in my heart, a beautiful example of folks crack open that asset store and just download shit.
Oh,
Make something beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're like. I mean, I think that the designers of that game were, which is why I think like friend slop as a genre has like existed for way longer than the whatever current portmanteau or whatever. But like, yeah, a lot of this is just like, yeah, totally cribbed from existing assets and just being like, just set up the environment, like don't care about it, just make it work at a mechanical level. Yeah.
Yeah, that's now of a bundle of joy to get the name correct finally. Uh,
Yeah.
what is that thing?
Yeah, Bundle of Joy is a WarioWare narrative game about becoming a dad during the pandemic, and it's based on my own personal experience. And you play as a new dad, just trying to get through a series of days when your kid is pretty young, around like the 3 to 6 month range. And as you get through the day, there's kind of these like narrative vignettes are somewhat open-ended and allow the player to kind of sift through the different emotional headspaces that come from that experience. And yeah, you try to like survive 5 days of doing that without completely stressing out.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of silly and lighthearted, but also has like moments of, kind of, I hope, more profound sincerity sprinkled in there. So yeah.
Right, like that is the, and it's a perfect thing where I think the bulk of that was an experiential description of the game, which I think I keep saying on the show that we need to just get better at using that as being the main descriptor of games, because gameplay does a disservice often to describing what a game is holistically,
Yeah,
because there were
the beautiful and true part of the game versus the controller
right
wiggling part of the game.
because there were two at to go even further back at Magfest, there were two. You were one of two WarioWare styled games, but extremely different experiences.
Extremely, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, and I will also say my booth was, I would say, not as busy as the other booth. The other booth being Mindweave, which is like a very, I think, successfully and well received Kickstarter game that's much more in the, like, I don't know how you can say, like, straight canon, like, minigame compilation style games, like whatever it be, Bishibashi or
right. The kind of like maybe loosely connected but mostly abstracted.
Yes. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and like very, like, it's just like survive. It's just like get to the next round as best as you can.
Right.
Kind of number go up. I don't think that there's any really intricate narrative to it. At least there wasn't at the demos that I played and the things that I've seen.
But it's got a good look.
So yeah. I mean, it's a pretty game.
Yes.
It's a pretty game. It's like a lot of it is like hand animated, has these very kind of eye-catching characters and color schemes, and it also has like this kind of like very kind of boppy soundtrack too. The soundtrack in it is like, I think, very good, and everything animates on the beat to the soundtrack, so it also feels like a rhythm game, even if it doesn't have rhythm game elements. It just has this like very kind of like keeping pace kind of overarching feel.
But we're not here. They're not here. We're not here to talk about exclusively their other people's games.
Yeah, enough to that.
Yeah, what are they doing?
No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally kidding.
We'll talk to them in 3 year. In 3 years when the game comes out, and 2 years before they vanish into the ether.
Who knows?
Which is always like that's, and I say that with like I kind of wish so many people didn't do that. How many people are like one game in and out and they're done. But I feel like most people have more than one game in them. But it's just like the nature of we're talking about this first segment, the nature of like publishing expectations and like scale expectations. Kind of like some people make money, but not enough money to make a second game.
Yeah.
And then like, back to my regular job because making this game took not having a full-time job while I was making it, Speaking of other games, Of the devil. What's of the devil? Let me tell you about. Tell me about some messy people.
The Devil is a murder mystery visual novel slash adventure game where you play a crazy ass criminal defense attorney in a cyberpunk dystopia. So you've got like all these odds stacked up against you because you're in this surveillance state. There's cameras everywhere, but you're a good gambler.
Yeah.
So despite all odds, you are going up against the man in multiple ways, and one of those ways is through casino-themed mini games. So, little Ace Attorney, a little Danganronpa minigame,
Yeah.
Madness, a little good old-fashioned gambling, some Texas Hold'em, all that good stuff. And you unravel the tale of some messy girl drama.
That truly essential in our modern day and era. You know,
Gotta have it. Can't live without it.
it's a crucial part of life that needs to be properly represented.
The amount of people we had like a sizzle reel or whatever running on one of our screens at Too Many Games, and one of our guys had the genius idea of putting in like the sell sheet, like here's the stuff you gotta know. It was like,
Yeah.
high speed gambling, courtroom drama, messy lesbian drama, and the amount of people that would like double take at that slide.
Right.
Be like, you got me.
Yeah, right. People are interested, and I am. It exists within. Somewhere exists a game within my brain where someone gives me more time to work on games where I'm like. Well, as someone who started reading kaiju this year, I was like,
Hell yeah.
why is nobody not constantly trying to adapt this kind of scumbag gambling thing constantly?
I like the dirtbaggy factor of, especially like a visual novel protagonist. They gotta have some scuzz on them, right?
Yeah, they gotta have like a nice level of grime and messiness, and of like.
Yeah.
I kind of love it when like people make bad decisions,
Yes.
I think it is always the funny thing about seeing people go, why would a character do that? That's not the smart thing. I'm like, yeah, I love when characters do dumb shit.
To do it. I'm exploring the fun of making bad decisions in a safe fictional space.
Right. It's like, you, dear reader, player, listener, viewer, have you always made good decisions in your life? But
Exactly, that too. Come on.
now, how many?
High and mighty.
Exactly. We're all just messes who think too much,
Right.
I'm still unconvinced that human beings aren't just like stupid animals who think too much and create too many of our own problems.
He breaks and ran a mile with it.
Yeah. But no, that was this. How many? You said Too Many Games was the first event you kind of like brought it out properly with like.
Yeah, we've done a couple like the Boston and Philly area demo
Yeah.
nights, but this was the first like we are at an expo center talking to gamers and not game devs.
Yes, that is something I need to. I wonder if I can. To talk to people in Boston to be like, it's weird that you don't allow more mature games. Isn't that kind of weird? I wonder if I can push the need. This is me talking aloud, thinking about things of like, I wonder if I can just like nudge some people and be like, because I think you and I have actually talked about this at
Yes.
in relation to Mice. How Mice has, for people who aren't familiar, Mice, of course, is the Massachusetts Independent Comic Expo. But they have like on their little kiosk or their little guide like kid friendly booths or whatever, and the rest are assumed that they could very easily not be.
Like, watch what your kids playing at this one.
Right. You don't. I got a lot of very good comics at Mice that were not appropriate for children.
But that's why the kid-friendly ones have a nice big friendly balloon.
Yes.
And you can bring your kid there and they can have a great time.
Right.
But I also want to read some crazy shit.
Exactly. I want to see people's messy drama. I'm fine if people get naked and swear. That's fine by me. I'm an adult. It's my
Right.
So you go ahead.
Oh yeah, we did have the crazy moment at too many games where like we had to like decide really quick on like what's our ESRB
Yes.
speculative rating, because it's
Right.
like unattended 10-year-old. Maybe lay off the anime girl murder mystery for
Yes.
a couple years.
That is another question. It's something that I run into often, where it's like, what do you do when like a kid, like just kids run up? Because kids like, oh, video games. You go, no, 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 no. These are not for kids.
Try this one instead. I have some recommendations for you.
Right.
And it's not this one. I'm sorry.
Yes. Right. I've fortunately am often where it's not like a content issue, but it's more like, kid, there's no technically swearing or violence or naked people, but there's a lot of abstract concepts in this game.
You maybe haven't experienced this one yet.
Yes, yes.
And I don't know if this should be the first time.
Right, and maybe there was some really precocious kid who's like, "Oh man, I was looking for this. I'm sick of games talking
I've been
down to
searching
me."
for the existential friend.
Yes.
Exactly. Yeah.
Because yeah, I mean, like it's important for younger people to also explore those messy things in fiction. But there's like I don't want to be the arbiter of
Right.
deciding.
Yes.
Uh,
And the 10-year-old running around the Mario T-shirt maybe doesn't need to be.
right. They don't just go find Mario.
Yeah, there's plenty of Marios running around.
Right.
Now, Devin, a question for you, related to demoing games at events and all this. Have you done like any major? Given you were going to be kind of running a booth with your stuff at Play NYC, but have you done any larger gaming events or mostly smaller scale, kind of like demo nights, local events?
Yeah, mostly small. I would say the biggest one for me was Play NYC last year with Turbo, and it was me and my longtime collaborator JD Calvelli. We like showed off our Turbo game.
Okay. Also, friend of the show.
Yeah, yeah. Also, yeah, in a past Indiepocalypse issue. With his game Impermanence, and so we bonded quite a bit on our styles and visions of what narrative games can be, and
Right.
Turbo really liked that, and was one of the reasons why we got to show off our game at our like mini segment of the booth at Turbo last year. But for the most part, pretty small.
Yeah.
Avant People did a Atlanta Indie Game Showcase collaboration, which was pretty great because
Yeah.
it was with the Atlanta mayor's like office or whatever. So that was, I guess, a tier below, but overall, I like the local scenes and I'm trying to start the circuit once I'm a little more established. But
Yeah, that is like, and also like doing the circuit is tricky compared as a game developer. Like I have the luxury of saying, "Oh yeah, everyone should do this thing." Like it's a great way. I can say, "Oh, it's great for me to travel to a lot of events because I bring 100 games to sell at these events."
yeah.
And other people will have like less than 100 different things to sell at events. So
you have the automatic advantage,
right?
in a sense.
Here's a physical thing. Put it in your hand.
Yeah.
Leave the building with it.
Right. Even if you have that, you have one physical thing, which is,
Yes.
imagine going to Artist Alley and Artist like, I have this one charm you can buy. This is,
I hope you like it.
I really hope you like Demon Slayer.
I will. As we had little keychains at our booth, and
Yeah.
like people came up and were like, "Oh, I'm excited to see Of the Devil. I would like to buy the Of the Devil keychain, please."
Yes.
But the amount of people that were like playing the demo, experiencing it for the first time, and then looking at our table and being like, "Can I get a red and a green?"
Yeah. No.
Or a red anime girl and the green anime girl. It's interesting. People are open to buying the one thing
Yes,
that you got.
I have a cool little charm I got. Well, we were gifted. We did trades up. I did some trades up in Toronto. With Amui, an artist. He does that's another person. That's another person I have to have on the show at some point. They were doing a very cool. I got very excited because they knew they were very excited about the Koosh issue of Indiepocalypse, which is like activates a part of my brain. And then I'm like, yeah, I'm also very excited about that one. Can you believe I did that? That's crazy. As like a long time, as a big comics person, you know.
Getting that extra little
Yeah,
in.
yeah, because like knowing like just the fact that the Koosh collaboration was so easy, and that he was like, yeah, I'd love to do it, and because it's another like very small scale operation, you know, that's been going for like 10 years, so they're kind of like my template in a lot of ways of, hey, here's some people who do a lot of like small scale alternative comic publishing, and they've been doing it for like a decade. And
She did it for games.
Yes, exactly. And like it's clearly small scale because the guy, like, usually you'll get like when your subscription expires, and they do very good subscriptions where it's just you buy a single thing on PayPal that is like your subscription. But they'll send you a little note when your subscription's expiring and your most recent package, and it was like clearly like addressed to me from the guy who runs it. He's like, oh yeah, this is the last one out, and he's like, it was a personalized kind of message. Like it was kind of like, oh, I've been meaning to email this guy. Let me write in this thing that I'm sending him in the mail anyway.
I feel like that's even more of an endorsement for like smaller scale
Yeah.
operations, where it's like you get that relationship with like person who made the thing and person who enjoys looking at the thing.
Yeah, and like without like parasociality, you know, which is
Yes, the nightmare.
The worst. There
An important, element,
because there are. I feel like a lot of our current. How do I say it without being mean to people? A lot of our current crop of people, online personalities, pretty much exist primarily through what feels like parasociality, not their actual output. So it's a weird weapon, and it kind of like also clogs the space, I think, where it's like there's a lot of people doing like way more interesting stuff, but they're not yapping on Twitter all the day, you know.
Right, they don't have the star power.
Right. It's the weird, you know. This is for the audience who everyone will think of their own person when I say this, but like, you know, there's people who have like thousands or not tens of thousands of followers, and you see them all the time online, but you've never heard a single person talk about their games.
I can't believe you talk about Mario like that.
You know what? He's got another thing coming, man.
Too good for too long.
Yeah, he's got a. But what's your relationship to Mario? Tell me, how do you feel about this fellow? And this is for the wider group. This is my fourth question that I just like because I did it as a joke, but actually it's like a weird, like interesting question I find, which is, what is your relationship to Mario?
Damn. I had a great aunt.
Yeah.
She had a CRT TV in her like guest room, and it only had like OG Mario on it.
Okay.
And that is like kind of the beginning and end of my Mario relationship.
On the entire TV, it just had Mario.
It's like whatever, like NES attached to it, and it only had Mario.
Was that just like something for the grandnephews and nieces and stuff?
Yes, it was definitely like a 3 times over hand me down. It's like, I don't know, put it in.
You're right.
Aunt whatever's guest bedroom.
When the kids come over, they're gonna want to play with the Marios.
That's the thing.
It's a little box that the little plumber guy lives in.
Yeah, I think for me, I do have a pretty significant, I guess, relationship in that when I was maybe like 4 or 5, my dad had like the Super Nintendo, and it's been probably like collecting dust for some time, but I picked up Super Mario World and played that for the first time, and that was probably like my first like console-like experience. And I remember being really bad at it, and I just have like vivid images of like crawling on those like metal grates in that game,
Yeah.
and also like dying to lava way more often than I I like to think back on. But ever since, I've been pretty in tune with Mario. Although it's fair to say that like he does have another thing coming because what are the games right now that are worth all of this clout?
Hmm. Similar to Goku.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think my relationship to Mario is, um, we we were like a Nintendo household, but like I think a lot of like kids of my generation, we like only could get the console and whatever game came with the console.
Right.
Like we didn't have like expendable or like family money to keep getting more games for it. Like so I remember like getting a Nintendo 64 and being so pumped, and but only ever really playing Mario 64 on it. Like not ever getting another, or maybe we got one or two, but I can't even remember what they were. But playing Mario 64 like well into high school and just like doing 120 star runs like over and over and over and over. So having a deep like affinity and appreciation for what that game was trying to do.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, which I feel like now, like contemporary platform people, like I heard this like I can't even remember what it was, but it was on this other podcast. But so people were like kind of like I don't know if evangelizing, but like being like, and remember like when Mario 64 like pioneered this, and I was like, oh dang, like is that true? Like is that like did Mario 64 actually pioneer that thing? And so I don't know if it's like revisionist history or like accurate portrayal of that, but it made me rethink about playing that game over and over and over and over again.
Yeah. I mean, games are also a weird thing where I've harped on those poor people who did the one of them is GQ. I forget what the other one was. It might have been like it might have been more of a video game website, but there are at least two those like aggregate style like best of lists. It was like we surveyed top critics and developers, and this is what they said. And then of course, both of those lists are really bad because they both have Fortnite on them. And like, how can you take your medium seriously if you think that's one of the greatest games ever made? Anyway, it's a giant commercial that has guns in it, I guess. Very.
That's definitely something. Yeah.
Very silly, but it is a
also
thing.
Goku.
Also,
I mean, Goku's in it, so it is got to be good.
Right. And Peter Family Guy is in as well, of course. All the. I was talking about this last week, I think, where it's kind of like a shame that what used to be like licensed games that like studios could be like their bread and butter is now just like Fortnite tie-ins,
Yeah, you don't get like a Shrek video game anymore. You just get Shrek and Fortnite.
Right. It feels
I hadn't even
strange.
thought of that.
It feels strange to
Yeah,
say.
that's a really good point. Yeah.
Like it feels weird to say that in a better world there would be like 3 shitty Fantastic Four games that would have come out, but there would have been. There would have been like, here's our DS version, here's our mobile port, here's our console version, and that was like that was games for 1 to 3 different game studios.
People lived and died on those.
I think
I remember.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say I remember talking to this developer who worked on this really cool project that was called Escape Connemara, and or is that what it's called? No, I feel like no, Escape Woomera. Sorry, that was a game that was developed in the Half-Life engine. It was a Half-Life mod that was about escaping this detention center in Australia. It was a really cool game. But they were like worked in the industry. They were like, an industry professional, and they were like, you have to remember at this time in the '90s, in the late '90s, early 2000s, there was like no original IPs really being made. It was all some kind of tie-in. Like it was all like Warner Brothers tie-ins, or like all like movie tie-ins, or like existing IPs that then they were trying to figure out like ways to make video games after these existing IPs. And I was like, oh, that's like, yeah, I feel like we're going back to that phase where there's like really scarcity of new IPs being made, or like studios favoring existing IPs. And then they were like, they kind of said like, or just like making existing IPs exist in other existing IPs. And I was like, oh yeah, that's Fortnite.
Right.
Yeah.
And like, there's a world where that doesn't, I think, a perfect example of is, you look at CyberConnect, they make, 13 Naruto games, then they make a furry war game. Then they make 13 more Naruto games. And that's like their bread and butter. And we need that bread and butter because it's handy for making sandwiches.
Yes, exactly.
And they kind of like that commission work kind of stuff. Like if their legacy was dependent on like Tail Concerto, I don't know if they make any other games. I don't know if they're still around in 2025. But they're out there making Fuga, and in between
Naruto is holding it all up on his back.
Right, in between Fuga, they're making Demon Slayer and Naruto games. Right,
That
and
makes me
it's
think.
that's whatever. That's New Line and the House of Freddy built. It's all you got to get the idea that
Totally. Yeah. Flagship.
right. The idea that the cash cow builds is supposed to fund smaller projects,
Right.
and not like, well, we'll just make a bigger cash cow or whatever. We should make more money.
Yeah, I remember playing.
Goes back.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Devin. Go ahead.
I remember playing like the old SpongeBob games, and those being like I think one of the prime examples of like, oh, this is a show that I enjoy watching, and then ends up being like a pretty decent game, if not like the sandwich, like the
Right.
bread that you need to hold you over. And to be fair to, I forget the studio that makes those games, but they're still making SpongeBob games, and like that I feel like is the last, for me at least, in my like childhood and memories, the last like stronghold of like, oh, this is the licensed like video game that is pretty decent. But like then SpongeBob ends up being like the global brand anyway. So how you don't get the, as you were saying, Andrew, like the Fantastic Four video game that like you could play for a couple hours. It keeps somebody like funded for the next couple of years, and then they can make whatever they want. But
Right.
I think there is a couple of SpongeBob games that come out pretty regularly, and so something to look forward to, I guess, for those who enjoy that.
Yeah. There's like, the games as work, which is like also kind of why there's like the difficulty in being. I increasingly find with like, oh, but they got successful. I'm like, well, yeah, I have a job too. like, like a game selling well is being a marker of quality. And it's like, well, plenty of games sell well, and plenty of people do work for games, and kind of like the more we can separate like profits from quality, and attention.
Right.
Because like the two are so wholly unrelated most of the time.
And attention is really like its own currency. Like
Yeah.
I always see the graph go around. That's like the like vast majority of like game hours is like whatever the top like 3 things of the year are.
Yeah, right.
Just like whatever Call of Duty came out most recently, and then like your Baldur's Gate 3s, and like a
Right.
third thing.
Yes, whatever other third huge hit broke off of the day.
Stardew Valley,
Yeah.
like whatever massive cozy game exists in that cycle.
Right. It's like that your people are fighting over that last little chunk left over by this big fish, right?
That 3% that says other.
Yeah.
But that's like also life, play hours of music, it's whatever huge, whatever is Jelly Roll or whoever. What's his face? The guy that I didn't know was a country artist, Post Malone. Is Post Malone a country artist?
Can't say I've ever heard a Post Malone song.
Neither have I, but like I was getting a bunch of ads, and he was with Jelly Roll, and it seemed like they were playing country music.
Oh.
Well, yeah, he's done country in his past.
Okay.
For his past, that's his like new scene.
Everybody's doing country. Everybody's doing country.
In right now.
Yeah.
Is country the new roguelike, action roguelike of video game of music?
Absolutely.
Oh. Yeah. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
Nothing.
I would say it's like the new rogue like deck builder.
Okay.
Okay.
There's no. I find
go
not.
to genre smashing. Yeah.
I find nothing more soul crushing than like reading about a really interesting sounding game, and then it gets to the part in the paragraph where it says it's an action roguelike, and I go, why is it that? And I go, all right, because they need to make money.
Yeah, that's just the reality.
They did. Yeah. They needed someone to give them money.
Yeah, so it's like, oh yeah, here's a really interesting game about, our generational trauma and immigrating to America, and also it's an action roguelike. I'm like, why is it though? Can't you tell stories in other ways? And the answer is no.
Well, they made a prototype, and then they brought it to a publisher, and the publisher said, this would make a really good action game.
Right.
And I said, great. I said, okay.
It's
No, I mean that's cynical, but yeah. I mean it's just like the studio model, right?
right.
Yeah.
And I think not that game players have too narrow of interest. I think that we think they have too narrow of interests, more than they actually do. I think people don't give people who play games enough credit, and that's just like people who like art. I don't think they give them enough credit in general.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it's always a constant goal to bring those people in and introduce them to new work and show that, hey, you like this thing, you just haven't like been familiarized with it yet, and you find a lot of value in it, and it doesn't have to be like the big massive game everybody plays. And
Right.
it's always kind of work to figure out how to do that best and without like using like manipulation tactics or ways to get people's attention. It's just really difficult in the world that we live in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, getting slightly back towards like Play NYC or other tabling things.
Right,
I've never not to do your job in. No,
No,
just kidding.
listen. I don't work on the weekends, so all the things that would be considered doing my job of being show host, I don't do this.
But like, I've never had somebody that's like come up to me at an event like that, at a game event like that, and be like, oh, like sit down and play something, and then be like, oh, no, this isn't an action roguelike. I'm not gonna, or whatever. It's not a FPS game. Like, no, thank you. It's like very rarely that when you get somebody that just wants to play something and wants to check out new things or is open to it, they sit down to genre agnostic experiences and they're like, oh yeah, this is great. Like, I really like this. This is capturing my attention and interest.
Right.
Which is, I think, one of the, like, boons of doing events like this.
Yeah, and I find often going to events, or pretty much every time, even, like no matter what the scale, I'll get like 1%, whether that means that's one person or 100 people. It's like, oh wait, no, this is a whole other way of thinking about things that I hadn't considered. I'm very excited about this.
Totally.
People who are, and the more I do this, the more my fears are like calmed of that I'm tricking people, There's always the worry in my brain is like, that I'm selling people quote unquote indie games, and they're thinking, oh, indie games, of course, like Celeste, Stardew Valley, indie games, and I'm like, well, no, like weirdo shit.
People need to get tricked into playing weirdo shit more though.
Yes.
So
No, and
you're doing a good service.
I have had enough people who are like, who have like at MagFest. I had some people like came on Friday and then came back on Saturday. They're like, we fired it up in our hotel room and we played all the games. Can I get some more of them? And I'm like, yeah, dude, of course.
Need another hit.
Yes, I had people who had moved, who had like I'd seen at MomoCon, then saw again at PAX East, and they're like, oh, we bought like 3 of these down in Atlanta, and like really loved them. I'd love to get more of them. Like you're not born, like people aren't born like with certain specific art tastes, you know. That's
Right.
Totally.
it's not like hard coded into your DNA. So eventually, you go, oh yeah, maybe you like, and it's also not like such like a binary. I think the internet kind of like wants people to be characters or no, I guess. Like if you spend too much time, you're like, oh yeah, this is my thing, you know. How many iterations of like you're like, this is my explainer version of myself, you know, and it's like
your elevator pitch
right
of you as a person.
right. I think one of the most recent ones I saw looked like they were like in an action figure box or whatever, and they're like, these are the things that I like, and I'm like, I like contradictory things. I think most people do.
This would not help anybody. This
Right.
exercise for me.
Right. Like, I think most people like contradictory things, you know. And that's just like part of the human experience is that we're not like characters who like, I'm the character who likes horror movies. I only like horror movies.
I'm the cute
yeah.
one. I'm the
Right.
funny guy.
Exactly. I only play cozy video games. Like, no, you can play Stardew Valley, then also play Manhunt, and like those are my 2 favorite video games.
And you're automatically, and then in that world, you're automatically characterized as a complex character. So
I know.
it's, yeah, it's,
Turns out,
it's something
Well-
that we should definitely like navigate out of.
yeah, turns out we're all very complex characters, you know. You know, eternal friend of the show and friend of the me, Bianca Del Mar, I always think about, who posts like a lot of like wrestling all the time and like animes sometimes, and but also hosts my experimental film segment on the, you know, Indiepocalypse Radio or the Pledge Drive. She's like, yeah, I got a whole hot hit of international experimental films for you. Let's fire it up. And I'm like, yeah.
Yeah.
But you know, but your posting personality gets like, so you create good content. Of course, you need to have your character, I guess.
Wrestling is basically the closest thing to international experimental film that we have.
Sorry, I missed part of that. The most important part of that.
Oh, I said wrestling is
Yes.
the
Okay.
closest thing that we have to international experimental film.
It is. Wrestling is just carny shit, you know. Wrestling is carnival theater, and I love it.
Saw a part wrestling, part drag show in Providence this summer, and it really like those are such linked forms of performance. It
Yes.
really got my gears turning.
Yeah, that is like. Wait, so like how did it work? What was the concept?
So they would have like a drag performance happen, and like they have like it was outside in a parking lot with like a big wrestling
Yeah.
setup. They'd have a drag performance that, you know, they would work the crowd, they would work the stage while they're like setting up the like whatever equipment they need for the wrestling part, and then they would have like either just like a quick wrestling segment and like the like really ostentatious characters, you know, getting right into the like, you know, this one's the heel, this one's the
Yes.
good guy. And then, like, I'd never been to a wrestling thing like ever, and like the way that it instantly pulls you in because you've got You have someone actively in the crowd and is just as stupid of outfit as the rest of the wrestlers.
Yeah.
So, well, it's stupid affectionate.
Right. Yes. No. When I call it stupid carnival shit, that is very affectionate. I
Right.
love.
Right. It's an important part of experiencing the world.
Yeah. Like, I feel like they're kind of like, okay, one of our guests is departing. Hello, Nicholas. What's up? Where can people?
Sorry, guys.
No.
And gals and everyone in between.
Where
I
can-
actually have to get going.
Okay, where can people find your stuff?
Here.
You've got stuff. Where can people
yeah.
look for it?
You can find my stuff at essaygames.itch.io.
Perfect.
And you can find me on Blue Sky at Essay Games. Blue Sky.
Yes.
Yeah. Easy to find me.
Perfect. Well, thank
Andrew,
you.
it's always a pleasure being on here. I can't
Yes.
wait to see you. Can't wait to see
Yes.
Bug, I'm going to come find you.
Yeah, 'cause-
Devin, really good to meet you too. And I'll see y'all soon.
Yes.
Yeah.
See ya.
Okay. See y'all. Bye.
Bye.
Now who's the fool for creating the second scene? I actually did look at the thing, and Pratt is very far away from me, but we are I believe kitty corner from each other. I believe that's the correct terminology.
Like table wise.
Yeah,
Cute.
like we're across from each other. I'm top. If you imagine you're walking down an alley, you're bottom left. I am top right. But it is, yeah, no, lowbrow stuff. I think lowbrow stuff is cool.
It's cool and it's good and it's fun.
Yeah.
Need more of it.
Yes.
I think life is enriched by both like an appreciation of the lowbrow and appreciation of the highbrow, you know?
Right. Right.
And
Which we'll affectionately find at Play NYC as well, which is the great culmination of all the brows that
Yes.
that we all love and enjoy, and people will come out to see.
yeah,
So exciting.
I know. I want to like run up on Thursday and try and see if I can't find, like, I think I probably know a couple people in Artist Alley, I think, if I remember right.
It's a big one, so
Yeah, I think I was talking to some people in the greater Boston scene that were like also going to Anime NYC, if I remember right. But I don't know if I remember right.
excellent. Probably. If there's someone that frequents that kind of thing,
Yes,
NYC is a pretty standard one to try and hit up.
right. It's pretty big. Like
Yeah.
it's a massive event. So
I think
like,
the foot traffic is 100K.
Yeah, that's what I was seeing.
Yeah.
which is a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I only need to sell to, like, I don't know, 1% of those people in order to break even or something.
Make it all worth it.
Yeah, like that, and that's also, like, you know, the benefit of like being able to do events is they're usually like cheap enough that oh my god, if I sold, I was like, what's 1% of 100,000 is obviously 1,000 people. And if I, you know,
Yeah, just move that decimal point.
yeah, if I sold to 1% of the people who went to Anime NYC, I'd be fucking good for the year. Yeah, you know, just a casual 20K, you know.
Whatever.
Biggie, yeah.
But when you think about like that in the scale, like it suddenly all starts to become more doable, you know. When it's like, oh yeah, I only need to sell to 1% of the people who are sell something to 1% of the people who are coming through here, which is like not a lot of people really.
It's a good frame of mind to have
Yeah.
of like, oh, I'm at this thing. I'm excited to be here. Let's do 1%. And
Yes.
just like the 1% meet everybody that you can.
Mhm.
And I think it's a good motivator, especially like I try to think in similar terms of like, okay, the people that are around me, I'm going to like make sure that I am like actively like engaging and walking toward them and being like, not in like a weird way or
Right.
standoffish way, but more so just like, hey, you're around my booth area. Are you interested in learning more about this thing?
Yeah.
And doing that 1% effort in that sense too. 1% more than normal
Right.
can be a good motivator, I think.
Yeah.
Right, for sure. And like doing it in person is so much more. I don't know. You are able to make a connection, and like you have a little bit more of like the captive audience than like an online type of thing where you're just one voice of many.
Yes. And one voice of many for doing literally everything, you know.
Right.
Like people going to anime, like it's trickier doing a game event at play NYC will be different than Too Many Games, because Too Many Games, while it is kind of like markety, not necessarily indie game show, it's still like a game show, you know.
People are there because they like video games, and maybe
Right.
they'll like mine.
Right, and people going to play NYC maybe don't even play video games. They're like, I love Goku and Lady Goku.
I am wondering, I'm like, as someone purveying some Lady Gokus with my game,
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe they'll be into it. So
They
I'm very curious to see how it goes.
Yes, I think you're well positioned for Play NYC.
Yeah.
So I think it's a good one. I'm always curious. I need to go, get the lay of the land
Yeah.
and that kind of thing. I am kind of curious what they have there. As someone who does like, I guess, comics are adjacent to anime. Often anime comes from them. But I'm like, what have they got there? And like, do I want any of this? And usually, not. I have like, because I'm not a figure guy.
Yeah.
I have like, I think technically one figure and technically one acrylic stand that I got with something else. I have.
You're just kind of burdened with more things for buying a different thing.
Yes, yeah. So I have like, it came with like one of the editions of Galette, that came out. I got an acrylic stand. I was like, okay, that's nice to have this little Milk Morinaga acrylic stand. I'm not going to put it up anywhere.
You have it, yeah.
I do have it. My skeleton jelly, of course, is proudly displayed. He's the only figure I've ever purchased, a 3D printed skeleton jelly. He's a cool guy if people are not familiar with skeleton jelly. He's kind of wandering around and people are looking for him.
Little goopy guy.
Yeah, he's that's Matt Brinkman. I think I always forget what kind of force it is. I think it's Mega Force or something Fort.
Could have fooled me.
Yeah,
I would not be able to pull that one.
No. But if you're looking for, a multi-force is what it was.
Yeah.
If you're looking for like a huge ass book that's just a bunch of fucking weirdos wander around an abstract space, it's got you covered. And I am often looking for a bunch of weirdos.
Yeah.
Uh,
An important service.
yeah, weirdos. We need more like video game freaks and weirdos represented. Like.
Really agree, yeah.
Yeah, especially right now.
Yes,
It's a hard world for weirdos more than ever.
it's weirdos always get a hard rap.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the benefit of like events to some degree, is like you just kind of get out there in front of people.
Yeah.
And it's why I really am trying to encourage people to sell things at events, because if you like, I think, Artist Alley, like I think of this as like a mental exercise often, is like, what does Artist Alley look like if nobody at Artist Alley is selling anything? Like, who are the people who show up, and it's probably way different
Me and
people.
Sheol. Artist Alley.
Right.
I see.
But so when you have game events where nobody sells things, you have people who can afford a couple $1,000s to go to a game event and not sell anything. Which I don't know how many people on Artist Alley you could say, hey, spend a couple thou to go to Anime NYC and just show off art you're working on.
Yeah, let's see some. Let's see your soul.
Yeah, let's see some let's see some of your sketches, and there would be like way different people, and I think there would be way different people in games if, it was more commonplace, both to sell things and for people to expect to buy things. Like
that's a good frame of mind to think through it. Because oftentimes it's like, I'm just showing it because I'm here, and I think it'll be good for numbers, whatever
Right.
numbers mean. Numbers never translate to
No.
financially supporting anything.
No,
So,
as someone with like relatively low numbers, all things considered, I do not bad for someone with low numbers. Like numbers are very silly. Like I remember, and I feel like people did not learn the lesson when Twitter was collapsing. I was seeing a bunch of people being like, "Oh well, Twitter sucks anyway. I have 50,000 followers, and when I start a stream, only 100 people watch." And I want to be like, the lesson is that people are following you as a Twitter personality and not for your art and the work that you do. But I don't think that lesson was learned by many people. But
You'd think that would be the hard way, but
right. But they're like, no, Twitter's the bad platform. Being a poster is successful, and I say, as someone with like, I think I'm $1 short of $700 on Patreon with, I think, 1,000 followers. It's not like the number of people. It's like the number of meaningful people who like your work. It's that 1%.
right. Yeah.
That 1%. Yeah.
The attachment rate and the loyalty rate,
Yeah.
and like what are you offering that they would be loyal to, and can you keep outputting that in a sustainable way?
Yeah. I like on social media I basically only follow game people and other like loose art people. None of the like actors, comedian, musicians, anything else that I like, I don't follow. But I still like all that stuff. Probably spend more money on it even. But it's just like the habits people have, and I think too much emphasis is placed on like I got to get people to follow me on social media.
yeah,
Right.
and I mean to a degree, it's like there are classes, there are courses, there are things that you can pay to like learn how to follow people or like how to expand your market or whatever the like fun flashy term is.
Yeah.
Like that is a mindset that is not always like heartfelt or genuine, and
Yes.
the
Right.
emphasis of like creating a community and like as you're saying, like following games people and game devs and their work because you want to see those things in that space that you're trying to create and cultivate. So
Right.
it's weird. It's like that's not the norm, and it's very much opposite.
Yeah. For me, social media is like the equivalent of like business cards. It's how I
Totally.
it's how I like put someone inside of my brain and like remember them.
Yeah.
For later.
It's a good organization tool, like a file system almost.
Yeah. Like I'm basically only on when I'm posting. Like I have on my phone, I have taken it. I have put all the little social media apps, put them in a little bubble by themselves, and put that bubble on a screen by itself. And that weirdly like worked for getting me off of it pretty much entirely on my phone. To the point,
I gotta learn.
it's very
Fucking addicted to that stuff.
It's super handy. Like I used to scroll a lot more and be more involved, like just really nonstop with it. And now I only use social media unless I'm posting like at an event or something, or if I get like someone directly messaging me about something. I only check it on my computer. Like my computer, it's only on my phone just for events. And I would, in theory, uninstall it and reinstall it every time if that wasn't such a pain in the ass. But it's been like the time. Like the thing is, I don't find that I don't know what to do with my time ever. Like I always have something else to do. And this is me not even having a hobby of building Gundams, which is in theory a hobby that's been threatening me for a long time.
Are you a builder, would you say, of other things slash have interest in building in general?
Oh, I love building stuff. I love
Yeah.
I love to construct things. I've built porches or whatever, you know.
Heck yeah, yeah.
Uh, I like to work with my hands. And like those would be like little things I work with my hands while I watch a video, and I'm like have a little desk set up in front of a TV, and I'm working. I'm like, oh, what's over here? But you know, only so much free time.
Yeah. I've been trying to find like a good balance of like my own practice, then my day job, and then the hobby
Yeah,
space. And one of them includes like, oh, I would love to get back into like building like Legos or minifigures or whatever it may be.
yeah,
Uh, and like trying to like juggle that with all the other things that I would like to do. And it's, I think from like the indie games perspective also, it's really useful to think about how like if you're an indie dev that's just starting out, or you're in a particular like situation where you're kind of like, man, I want to make this my like full-time thing, but in the meantime I have this job, and on the side I'll like make games and devote the rest of my time to that. uh and then you forget to find space for literally everything else, or like even to just sit outside and like talk to people, or hang out or whatever.
Right,
um
and that's all such important stuff to
yeah,
like being able to make compelling things is doing the experiencing part of life.
yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I've become an expert grass toucher in life, where maybe I wasn't 3-4 years ago. You know, to the point where like the really weird thing is if you can manage to like detox yourself from social media, is that it looks really weird when you log back onto it, and like it's just very bizarre the way people use it, you know.
I showed my wife's been off social media for a while, or like a very light Blue Sky user, and that's
Yeah.
like it these days. And I showed them a tweet the other day, and I don't remember what the word was, but they're like, what are these like 5 words? Like I don't know this language anymore.
Right, right.
After just like half a year of like going really light on social media.
And it's like, why are people like arguing about this, you know?
Right. Why does anyone care about the thing that we're arguing about today?
Right, and like it shows how like the especially like realizing that cyclical arguments are cyclical.
Right.
Partially
It's the same shit every time.
right, right, and it's because no one's really discussing things. It's just that
Right.
if I once yellow paint comes back around, if I make a big enough stink about yellow paint, I'll get a bunch of shares and like 100 new followers or something. And it's like, even when I was using it, I was like, I feel like I acknowledge that like Discord is very nakedly about that. Like it's not even discussing anything. It's just about getting people to look at you. And I do not want to be looked at. I do not wish to be perceived. So
Thank
Yeah,
you.
Same.
Yeah.
I think I'm really of the mindset that we should not be. I was doing a night market in Boston. I think I told the show. And here's the fun thing about doing this show is that I'm going to keep telling the same stories over and over again because I'm talking to different people every week. And fucking listeners are gonna have to deal with it. I'm not a podcaster creating content for you, you know. Also, but like there was this guy who's like, you know, asking like, you know, in the course of the discussion, I just offhandedly mentioned that I'm on Steam. I think he asked if I'm on Steam. I'm like, nah. I just don't feel like because you can't turn off communities on Steam. I just don't want to be on Steam because I don't want to have to deal with it. It's just like another part of work that I simply do not want to do. And he's like, dude, you don't want to interact communities? I'm like, no, people shouldn't have communities. Like, people got too comfortable talking to artists, being able to contact artists, and they should stop. And was very sincerely like saying like what, like very like no, dude, community is great and art, being able to talk like, and it's like a mentality that I thought like was understood. Like yeah, no, people are getting way too comfortable with that, where it's like people do love it. I'm like
People want that level of access, and it's like I think we should all know a little less about each other.
yes, no, I'm glad to know a lot less about everybody. I do not need to know how old, how tall. I do not need someone's stat sheet on their bio. I need like very very superfluous information because it's like we know everybody, but we don't know nobody at the same time. It's the whole
Right.
we're all the internet has been alone together for like decades at this point. Like it's not even a new concept. What did Pulse come out? Of course, the film Pulse, because that was also basically part of what that movie was about. Was the idea of like, 2006. Oh no, that's the U.S. version.
Oh, then 2001.
What was that?
It was it 2001, the original.
Yes, yeah, yeah. 2001. That is 24 years ago, and people were already exploring this idea of like, the interconnectedness of the internet, and also how we are still like also isolated from each other despite all of that.
We're still grappling with it.
Yeah, no, it's because I think it's like the nature of the internet. Like because we are so far like. Part of it, I wonder if this is like a human thing where we're being able to like be in the same room and see a person or hear a person or like recognize that there is another physical being in this room with me is something that we want to pretend that we're above, but we're not. Or
Yeah, I think it's always like strapping with, yes, I can be in the same room as you, but this platform allows me to be in the same room as literally anybody, theoretically anybody that I want.
right.
And so it is then like, are you valuing the person that's right beside you, or are you valuing the potential to talk to anybody?
Right.
And oftentimes we're losing that fight or that war of like, I love my close ones, or I love my friends, or like even like following people that make cool stuff, but I am struggling with talking to somebody that is right here with me and having those meaningful connections in a way that is just not possible on the internet to the same degree. So I don't
Yeah.
know what the solution is, or like other than like making sure you draw those lines very like clearly, and even just for our own sake, and actively just trying to yeah, do touch grass, talk to people in person, and find a lot of joy and value there without even bothering with social media.
And I think it's also tends to despite like infinite access also tends to like, because you can select more easily, it tends to, I think, close off groups more often, or more easily create in groups, because like, oh well, if you are at an event, for instance, there's like infinite number of, you got everyone at the event who can all theoretically talk to each other, and it wouldn't be necessarily that weird. But it would seem weird if like people were always just like closed off in a very small in group at an event, and it's like, well, why are they there?
Yeah.
But
I can only hang out with my Discord server participants. Sorry.
exactly, right. I think you were, well, if I remember right, were in at a last year's game loop.
Yes.
We're at like a workshop about like DIY indie marketing.
Yes.
And we might have even talked about this on the show, even.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Maybe.
But
I think it was before Game Loop that I was
Okay.
on last.
But it was it was so weird at that event how pretty much all discussion was based around like, make a Discord
Communities.
build your community.
And
Yeah.
There was one person who brought up, like, I don't like people having that much access to me. Actually,
Right.
like, I like the longer I spend like managing those conversations, the less you have to put into your work and like do those meaningful touching grass things. Like
Right.
it's a whole you're now responsible for this like ecosystem.
And, and there was only one other person as well who said, "Oh, I collaborate with other developers and we cross promote each other's work."
Yeah, and people were so resistant to that. They were like, "Well, I'm talking about connecting to like customers," and it's like I don't know, man.
Yeah.
Like,
Like I don't know how many people like I found through like links on somebody's website, you know.
right?
Like that is exclusive. You know, I have probably at this point, besides like children's books, I have like all of, for instance, like Kate Beaton's books up in my shelves right now, and her website I found through just a link on someone other of like people I like, you know,
Right.
and that's,
Like the cultivating that like circle of other people that make things that you're interested in. People
Yeah.
will probably be interested in your shit. Like, I don't know.
right. And web rings and stuff are coming back in that way of like, and there are more people who are like making like Neo cities and like links to my buds on the near Neo cities, you know.
Shit to check out if you liked the shit you just checked out.
Yeah. And I think that is like, you know, the ability for a single person to cultivate a community or whatever is like hard.
It's coming to 4. I should probably bounce soon.
Yes, no, similarly, that's about when I close down this show. So as we're going to start to wrap this show up, before we get to any crucial non-promotional things that anyone needs to get out before we get to the promotional portions of the show.
I got nothing.
Perfect.
Yeah. Play games.
Yeah.
Play
So-
games.
So I will say, hey, boy, people looking for your work, where can they find it? Where's your work at?
Me and my buddies' games at Nth Circle, so nthcircle.itch.io.
Yes.
We've got Of the Devil. We've got some of our Game Jam stuff on there. Super fun. Check us out. You can also look up Of the Devil on Steam and find our episode 0 for free, so you can see some messy anime babes.
Yes. The perfect version of an anime babe. It truly like there's nothing more cursed than like the when you realize you can kind of get a vibe and sniff them out the anime manga that is like, look at this lady's on the cover of all of them, but actually the protagonist is just like a guy, you know, and you go, oh, because the protagonist is the guy who is secretly me.
Yes, and you get to look at the girl even more.
Yeah, I love to look at it, but no, this is a game where you are the girl, folks. You are the mess.
Yes. It's your mess. You made it.
Yeah, and you gotta fucking
But
clean it
I'll
up.
say that I'm working on social posts for Of the Devil right now for playcopting, and it's super slick, very
Wow.
very appealing. I'm so excited to meet in person and play. Hopefully,
Yeah, we'll have our demo ready for you. Oh, that's so exciting. Yay, thank you.
yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It's just awesome.
If you ask yourself the eternal question, what if Phoenix Wright was a goddamn like you thought? What if someone what if Phoenix Wright looked? Someone makes him look more put together, you know?
What if he was just a dirtbag?
Yeah. More folks, more dirtbags. I'm a real fan of dirtbags. We need.
Dirtbag protagonist, the dirtbagonist.
Yes. Remember that time when like people were harassing actors for playing bad characters who had like bad traits? That was funny. That was a really weird like month or so. Very bizarre. These people would not survive a day in the world of actual art.
Yeah. Let's keep them in the low common denominator film realm, maybe.
The world of the bubble of coziness, I guess. Anyhow, Devin, people looking for your work. Devin, where can people find it?
Yeah, www.vinemossgames is where you can find
Perfect.
my Insta, YouTube, and all my games.
Yes.
So Yeah, anything Vine Moss.
Perfect. Perfect. And I will, of course, say, hey, folks out there, Indiepocalypse, you know where you find it. It's goddamn indiepocalypse.com. I just have the damn URL. It goes right, it doesn't go right to there. It goes to pizzapranks.com, but because I'm not buying fucking, I didn't feel like transferring host to domain or whatever. And I have other stuff on there. I have, like, you know, so indiepocalypse.com/submit is where you submit games, /newsletters where you get the monthly updates that say, hey, a new issue came out, check it out. Goodbye. I think I might do. I think I should probably start doing bi-monthly to also do the tape club. Because if you like to get games physically, this little spinning tape on the stream you see there, that's a real little cassette case. Has a USB stick inside it. If you look very closely in the top corner of it, you can actually see my fingers physically spinning it. How I recorded a video of that. Then I exported it, converted it to frames, and then cut out the background. So you can still see my fingers spinning that thing in the GIF. So if you want to get tapes, of course, indiepocalypse.com/tape, you can get Indiepocalypse in physical edition, or up to like 30 or so other games available. And I mentioned those more extensively on this show because those are the things that you're going to get at Play NYC and PAX West upcoming. I've got a ton of those. I'm bringing them. I'm going to have a little storefront. And you buy them, you go, wow, I can hold video games in my hand. I've got a very exciting tape club of this month. I mean, I'm always excited about it, but this was one of, like with Koosh, this was one of the ones that, like, I sent an email that it surprisingly got answered. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. That's very cool.
I just sent an email and something cool happens.
Yeah, something, like, very cool happened, which you will see what that is in, like, you know, 4 days from now. But it is, like, the premise of the tape club. Let's say I've settled into there being 3 types of games that I released as part of the monthly curated tape club. Like, I call them contemporary releases, classic releases, and like short game collections. And this is a classic release that is, folks, a true classic, following up on my continuation of games that also have Wikipedia pages. Much like I Get This Call Every Day and Captain Forever. This is another game that also has a Wikipedia page. Eventually, I'm going to get. I've said this enough on the show that I've committed to try to figure it out to get Town with No Name at some point.
Ooh.
Are you familiar with Town with No Name?
No, but I'm writing it down.
Oh, it's like, not go too far. It's like an old,
oh, this one.
Yes, the bartender one.
Yes.
It fucking rules. Like a true, like, video game classic of, like, the, like, indie space. Because it's all, like, student. I think it was like a student game, if I remember correctly.
That explains a lot.
Like, I think it was like a game. I think it was like Scottish students making, like, a weird Wild West cowboy game, which is partially why I think the accent's really weird. Because it does sound like a non-American doing that. You know, when non-Americans do American accents, which is often a Southern accent, they go like, "Well, howdy, partner." Is that they're kind of
slinging it just wrong? Yes,
that kind of, like, American version of the Western accent, or that foreign version of the American Western accent, is present all throughout that game. Anyhow, that's my called shot of. I'll publish that eventually.
I look forward to it.
I do too. Like, in theory, I just gotta find that person has an email, and I'm like looking at Abandonware, and, like, I feel like there's not enough of that in games. A lot of it is, like, whatever, Ninja Turtles, and sure, Ninja Turtles are fine, I guess, but, like, what about the weird art stuff, or, like,
truly bizarre shit?
Yeah, like, stuff that, like, film and, like where is who is publishing the video game equivalent of, like, the Shags, you know? And who is the video game equivalent of the Shags? We need more research into that.
We've yet to discover.
Yeah. And of course, indiepocalypse.com/Patreon. My pledge, I usually have pledge drive every 10 issues, and because technically I would be doing 2 in this calendar year, I'm not going to do a second one. I'm going to do, like, a patron drive, I guess.
Ooh.
The idea of, I want to get it so it's enough, because if it gets enough I haven't done the math of what the number is, but if I get enough per month that it basically covers its own costs, I want to. I feel like that'll free me up financially because it's something I used to do, which was write about games. I would like to just pay someone to do that because I did it, but I don't know if I'm good at it. You know,
Get a trained professional.
right? I'd rather have a trained pro like do like at least a twice a month write up on like Indiepocalypse games and Indiepocalypse developers. Which at this point there are so many of them that doesn't even feel necessarily like it's like the state newspaper, so to speak, because you could do a lot of just like interviews of cool developers. But that is me putting it into the world, so I eventually have to do it. I have to make a little thing for Play NYC and PAX West of like a little QR code to go to the Patreon. So I have to try to convince people to sign up to the Patreon at those events. Anyhow, that's it. Shutting down the show. Bug, Devin, and the departed Nicholas. Thank you all for joining me here today.
Thanks for having me.
Great to see you all. Great to hang out. See you all in 2 weeks.
Whoa.
I know. Until then, I need to get my sleep screen ready. I was not prepared. Until then,
Be hydrated. Stay hydrated.
Unless you're all, and see you all, folks. I'm also, if you're in the Boston area, I am also going to the demo night and game loop as well. Boston area folks. There was another thing where people submitted their like little contributor form. Like, you're based in Massachusetts and Boston again. I don't know if I've ever seen you before. And of course, like, for as many people who show up to those events, there are even more people in the city making games.
Crazy.
I know. Your scene is always bigger than you think it is. Anyhow,
Yeah.
It's cool out there. See ya.